This is 180 live across the country here on Sky News. I'm Paul Murray here with Janine Perrott and John Stanley. Now, a lightning round, a whole bunch of stuff that we need to get through to deal with this week. They have decided to add a whole bunch of new sports to the Olympics. Women's boxing will be one of them. John, fan?
Well, I'm not a fan of men's boxing, so I'm not really a fan of women's boxing either. But if we've got men's boxing in there, I haven't really got necessarily a problem with women's boxing. I just don't like sports where it's a subjective decision by a judge. I'm not really all that fussed. I prefer to have boxing out altogether.
I was going to say, I mean, rather than bringing women's boxing in, shouldn't we be trying to ban men's boxing? I can't believe that, the London Olympics they're bringing in, it's going backwards.
But I'm interested in the point here, though. Do you think that if it's about judges, so gone is diving, gone is gymnastics, gone is equestrian?
Well, in those sports, in boxing, there's always a controversy over the judging. Sometimes there's controversy over gymnastics, I think, but I've never really. I think in diving it's pretty straightforward. I think diving. Well, we won Matthew Mitchell, of course. So of course, it's all
stuff. And equestrian. If Andrew Hoy's involved, we're all happy.
Well, that's about knocking things over, though, isn't it? Equestrian.
Yeah, but there's also points involved in dressage and stuff.
But I think I prefer when they're and this kind of blows a hole in my argument. The purest, I reckon, just about the purest Olympic sport is weightlifting. They would have been doing it in Athens, when they, they're all juiced up. But you are just essentially seeing who can lift the most.
I've never seen an argument built and knocked over in the same segment like that ever before.
There you go. No, but I don't. I just don't like boxing. I prefer women's softball should have been brought back in.
Yeah, I think there's something about the Olympics about team sports. I like the idea of team sports being involved. I'm not a massive fan of overtly professional sports being given the amateur treatment like tennis. And this is golf. This is my question about golf. Why should golf be an Olympic sport? I know you're a tragic. Why should it be?
This was all summed up today by Jeff Ogilvy. He's our #1 golfer who would in 2016 represent us, as he still is. He said, forget the tournament. No one cares about the tournament. I want to go so I can stay 2 weeks in the village, so I can march into the stadium. I'll be able to rub shoulders with the Usain Bolts of 2016, and I'll play a bit of golf. But they've made it very clear they don't give a stuff about the actual tournament, and they want to do it so they can have Tiger Woods there, and that'll boost TV and attendances.
You say the Olympic Village. Didn't Roger Federer meet his wife at the Olympic Village?
I
think we can see what they're up to.
But the tennis players don't take it seriously, and the golfers won't either.
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of text messages which have come through. My favourite so far is from Chris, who says that simply he wants to see Barnaby Joyce not in the Senate, but actually running for Prime Minister. What do we think of Barnaby for PM? It didn't work for Joe. Maybe the other bloke from Queensland.
I'd vote for him over Fielding.
There you go. All right, fair enough.
No, well, he'll probably move to the lower house soon, but Fielding will be out as soon as there's another election. Steve Fielding's gone.
He's more than gone. And now there is a whole bunch of traffic-related stuff this week, including a whole bunch of brand new fines that they're beginning to talk about, including the idea that pedestrians could be fined if they simply walk around with their iPods, because if you do that, you're going to get distracted and you'll put your own life and obviously the conscience of others at risk. What do we reckon?
Well, we talked about driver distraction last week, so yeah, pedestrian distraction. We've all been through it. There is some irony, though. Do you remember recently Toyota said they were going to put noise back in the hybrid cars because they were too quiet and blind pedestrians couldn't hear them, yet pedestrians with hearing are shoving iPods in and getting themselves killed anyway.
In the big cities, the cabbies have terrible trouble because people are just wandering around with iPods shoved in their ears. They can't hear what's going on and they're just stepping out on the road.
Which is all very true, although there are different iPhone apps where you're able to walk around, and of course there's a camera at the front of most iPhones, and literally it makes sure that the camera's on at all times, so you're looking at this, which is looking actually at the ground.
That's
so you can hold it up in front of you and keep going.
Yeah, that's what they've come up with. They've actually come up with technology.
Well, here's a question though. Hang on. You buy these iPhone apps. The question is, Mr. Murray, have you bought that iPhone app?
No, I haven't. I've got a whole bunch of the radio ones and the news ones, but there's no way I would do that. That said, I do have the Zippo lighter one on this, which cost me $1. I don't know why. I won't turn it on and do it for you. It'll take too long.
Don't start him on smoking.
Very good.
Technology, it's absolute zenith. They've done everything.
And they wonder why the people who send out the Nigerian emails actually make so much money. We've just had the answer.
Oh, just because I have never fallen for a princess scam on the internet just because I have something stupid on my phone. But fair enough.
Very good.
Have you ever walked out in front of a car?
No, most certainly not. And I always just think it's that thing where now, I love with the iPod, dare I say, generation, that there's a whole bunch of people who can't do anything without musical accompaniment. Can't wait for a bus, can't walk to the shops, can't even do do the vacuuming without it turned as loud as possible. Quickly, guys, winners and losers of the week. Who are we thinking?
Look, I've got a winner or a loser, but on my program today, Alison Carabine, she was on the last election debate, very well-known radio reporter, leaving our radio network to go to the ABC, gave me her highlights of her time in 15 years with us, including covering September 11. But she told me that, on air she told me this, that she sent a text message to a friend, and she was honest enough to say it said, do you want to have dinner this weekend, big boy? She inadvertently texted it to a very senior politician who's now much more senior than he was then, probably as senior as he can be.
Nice.
And she said that he rang back a couple of times in response. And I haven't heard the rest of the story. So I guess I'm the loser and my listeners, but I want to fill in the rest of the tale. There's something there.
Well, our very own Michael Packey from Sky News is going to be taking that job for your radio network, so hopefully he'll be getting the same text messages.
He'll be getting the same text messages.
Janine, winners and losers?
Vale Sam the koala. We missed him last week. I wanted to tell you he's dead. I know you hated the koala.
Well, no.
You did. You were vile about
I didn't hate the koala. I hated all the carry-on about him because, of course, he wasn't...
now the carry-on continues in his death, Paul, and every time I see the fight over his body, I think of you.
Thank you.
And you know what? Since he died of chlamydia, another 1,000.
He died of chlamydia.
Yeah.
She died.
She died. There you go. John Stanley, Janine Perrin, thank you very much. I'm Paul Murray. We're taking a couple of weeks off. I'm off to the States to go and see SummerSlam. You can watch that on Main Event, so we'll see you when I get back.